So, dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 1B. I am Riddhi Gohil, moderator of this session. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 7th International Conference on Information and Communication Technology for Competitive Strategies through Zoom. I hope you will enjoy knowledgeable interactive session through the day. In this session, we have 8 presentations and each presenter will be given 8 minutes for the presentation and 2 minutes for the question and answer. So please stick to the time limit. On 7 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all. Please stay connected with us till the closing remark. If you have any query and update, please let me know in the chat box. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce to all our chair of the session, Professor Meenakshi Sumit Arya. So I would like to introduce to all some intro about Dr. Meenakshi Arya. So Dr. Arya is an experienced academician skilled in machine learning, big data analytics, algorithms, data structure, and programming language. She holds a PhD degree in computer science and engineering. Her research interests include data science and analytics, machine learning, deep learning, and digital image processing. She has also multiple journals, conference, publication, book chapters, patent, and also copyright to her credit. She also served on the editorial and review board of the multitude of journals related to computer science. So, hello ma'am, we welcome you to this session.
Thank you so much, Riddhi, for the introduction. So with this as the backdrop, I will like to invite the first author.
Sure,
it is Radha Krishnan to present his work on analysis of information systems in cybercrimes through wireless networks. I'll request all the participants to kindly adhere to the timelines that are there for the presentation. And also we will have last couple of minutes for the question answers. So accordingly, kindly keep a track of time and wind up your presentation within 8 minutes. Over to you, Mr. Radhakrishnan. Is the author present, Riddhi?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Myself, I'm Krishnaveni, and my professor is Radhakrishna, sir. So he's connecting, ma'am. Just I'll share my PPT with you. Yes.
Can you please put your slides in slideshow mode?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So is it visible, ma'am, for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Please go ahead.
So good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for giving this opportunity to present my paper in ICTCS 2022. So regarding my topic here is the analysis of information systems in cybercrimes through wireless networks. It's presented by the Dr. A. Radhakrishna sir, and myself is Krishnaveni, working as assistant professor in Aditya College of Engineering. So regarding in this, I'm going to explain regarding the what is the we have done analysis on the attacks of different types of attacks in the different organizations, and I'm going to explain regarding the recent cyber attacks in different organizations, and what are the different types of attacks caused, and what is the disadvantages caused to the organizations because of these attacks, and how can we rectify this. I just analysis it from the different types of papers in this presentation. So coming to this, in my abstract, I mean presentation. So actually, in our nowadays, we have increased the lots of using of internet. Internet at the same time, whenever the population is growing, the usage of internet is also increased. So recently, because of Corona, the usage of internet is more increased from the previous years. So at the same time, there is attacks also increased, and there is many of the peoples are attacked by this and security defects. So how can we rectify these attacks, and how can you find that what are the different types of attacks they were getting caused by it? Okay, so from this I have researched here. From this paper I have studied different types of papers, and analysis from that paper says there is a different types of cyber crime threats, and whenever we are going for like e-crime attacks and cyberspace threats like phishings and the maldistribution of digital content, unauthorized use. So these are the different types of attacks are causing by using the wireless internet access. So because of this, many of the people are losing their information and troubling to get rid of their threats. For this, we are having here some of the threats like suppose if you have taken cyber extortion, that is nothing but they are the some of the attackers are insisting for the money, and some of attacks like they were injecting some mining of the softwares to crack the for requesting the money from the people, and again they were stealing the information, or they're tagging the taking the information like the credit cards from the different the personal from the different types of persons. So they are these are the different types of attacks like credit card fraud and cyber espionage attack and software bias. They were stealing the privacy and without having the rightful act. So these are the different types of attacks were involved in the present scenarios, and people were losing the information. How we are rectifying this means we are having here the concept called as cyber security. And if you have seen here this, I kept here the one statistic regarding here. From this is the worldwide internet usage and the population of the statistics. So suppose if you have seen here, in the Asia is the most populated country, and half or 3/4 of the people were using the internet. And from this Africa and Europe, these are the different types of statistics where the people were population, and the next one is how many people are using the internet. And at the same time, the cyber crime also increased from 2001 to 2020, 2020 to 2001. So if you have observed here, UK is the first place in increasing of cyber security in in the cyber security attacks. So suppose if you have seen the recent types of attacks in 2021, a case explains the ransom attack concession up to the 1,500 companies, overwhelming a ransom of not of $70 million. That means they were requesting the $70 millions of dollars to from the company to release the information which they have attacked. And if you have seen here 2021, there has attack rate Saudi American, which is faced the data breach revealing the important information of the employees, and they were requesting the $50 millions of dollars to release that information. So these are the different types of cyber attacks we have I have noticed from the previous years and the last years. So for this, we are having here that cyber security. So to overcome this, all this, we have to protect the other systems or the networks in a proper manner, not to steer getting the loss of the information to the people. So we are having here different types of cyber securities. That is nothing but we can secure the critical infrastructure And we can provide the security for the network security and the application security. The next one we are having here IoT security and the cloud security. By this base, we can secure our data from the different we can secure the data in the different ways. And we are having here is, and this is the different purpose why I have analysis while writing this presentation. So the standard operation procedure to forensic performance evaluated for the wireless network. So in this wireless network, by using this wireless network, the number of crimes were increased in this. If suppose if you have stains, how can we find that uh, how can we find that attack means? Suppose if there is a find that wireless sensor, wireless cyber crime, so we can investigate on that, and we can analyze the what is the cyber crime. After that, analyzing the cyber crime, we can rectify by using the some methods or some of the
Sorry,
algorithms
ma'am, for
to
the
rectify.
interruption.
Hello.
But yeah, sorry for the interruption, but you are running up to the time. So please.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So for this, these are the different types of attacks. Okay, maldistribution, that is nothing but digital content unauthorized use of attack. In this, what is the precautions to get rid of attacks is we have to suspicious of emails and URLs while we are opening anything, and we have to set the password, and in a strong passwords we have to set, and we have to identifiable if personal information should be, we have to give the some security wise, and we have to keep the backups, and we have to secure our devices. So from this analysis, I have given the summary here, that is nothing but for the cyber crime attacks. So we have to create the awareness the peoples, and we have to maintain the virus, and we have to keep up the backup the data every time, and maintaining the good hardware. And the coming to the phishing attacks, we should give that employers should be aware of the junk mails and the frauds. Next, coming to the maldistribution attacks, we are having the here watermark frameworks and the blind extraction. And the ECRM attacks, we are having the simulation models in a systematic model for rectify the attacks. So these are the different types of attacks, and how can we rectify for the general creating the awareness and following the some algorithms. This is the analysis I have done from the reading the different types of papers in the just manner in the starting stage of this. Has hello.
Yeah, thank you, Krishna, for your presentation. So, audience, anybody has any query or questions about Krishna's presentation? You are most welcome to ask your queries. Yeah, so if none, Krishna, I had 3 observations on what you have just now presented.
Yes, ma'am.
One, can you explain the technical merit of what you have just now presented, as in, is what is the literature survey, where was the source of the information that you've just now disseminated? So I couldn't see any references also in your presentation. So
Yes, ma'am.
what is the source of your deliberations or conclusions that?
Yes, ma'am. I have taken the source of the papers from the IEEE generals, which has been written here. I kept here. That is nothing but standard operations procedure to forensic performance evaluated for wireless networks. And the next one is attack of the model of phishing. Next one is maldistribution of the digital content and authorized use. So these are the IEEE papers, which I have taken as a reference for the literature survey, for writing this paper. Can I exhibit my paper, ma'am, if you don't mind?
Yeah, you can, but then my another question is that what is your ultimate endpoint that you are trying to achieve? Like, out of this analysis, what you have said is very, very obvious. There's nothing, no new findings which you have made out of your analysis that you've done. We must
Yes, ma'am.
protect our passwords. We must keep a backup. That's known to everybody. So, what is the findings, or where have you found the research gap on the basis of whatever you've analyzed to proceed your research forward?
Yes, ma'am. From this analysis, I have seen that every time the attack is getting, and people are suffered by it. But if the people, it's taking much time to developer or the person who are working on the cyber security, they have much time to know that what is the attack, how can we rectify, how can we should rectify in the, they're taking much time, much more time to rectify the and getting the solution. From this, after studying this all the papers, I came through that if we use AML, artificial intelligence and machine learning, so we can identify the threats or the attacks easily by maintaining the different types of data sets, and we can suppose if an attack has happened, we can find out this is the attack in the fraction of seconds, and we can rectify that attack in the within the 1 hour or the 2 hours, find the attack and we can rectify easily, ma'am. So that is the my information after writing the analysis of this paper.
So would you be working on a specific class or category of attacks, or it'll be a generic model which kind of is able to detect all attacks across different networks? Because as I could see in your topic, you just mentioned about wireless networks, but then networks are of multiple kinds. You have a Bluetooth network, you may have people having their own virtual private network. So are you going to be focusing on specific category of attacks vis-a-vis specific category of networks, or it is going to be your research will be focusing on more generic models and more generic networks?
No, ma'am. I'm going to focus on, first of all, different types of attacks. I will focus on this different types of attacks. Then I can, after that, I can rectify this by different categories of attacks. Only I'm focusing, ma'am. Just in the present, this is a just I am just registering for the PhD, ma'am. Just I'm working, and this is my first paper. I will research on the different types of categories.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Krishna. So you can go to my Google Scholar. There's a paper which we had written around 4 years back on network attacks. So it's Dr. Meenakshi Arya. You can go to Google Scholar. So that can act as a very good reference to what you're trying to do, where we around 4 years back tried to, identify various different kinds of attacks on networks using AI and machine learning. So all the best for your research, and thank you so much for your presentation.
Madam, good afternoon, madam. This is Dr. Radhakrishna, madam.
Yes, Dr. Radhakrishnan.
Good afternoon, madam. Thank you for all the sessions you have given, madam. Because we are working on this topic, madam. I and my student, madam, Krishnaveni.
Yeah.
So we are just at the starting stage of the paper, madam.
Yes. So,
Yeah. So we just went for a
recommended
survey
her-
paper, madam.
Yes, I've just recommended
Yeah.
her some references so she can just go through that. That will probably
Yes,
give
sir.
her a better direction for, progressing her research. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for your suggestions, madam, and we'll accept and we'll go further for our research work, madam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
So now I would like to invite Kavita, BC, for presenting her work on controlling wheelchair based on brain waves for paralyzed people.
Madam, can we log out, madam?
You need to be there, sir. You can just turn off your video and audio.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam. I will be there.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Kavita, you may please go ahead.
Please give me a time. I'll just share the paper. Can I know whether my screen is visible to you, ma'am?
Yes, Kavita, it's visible. Please go ahead.
Controlling wheelchair based on brainwaves for paralyzed people. Paper ID 131. Thank you, ma'am. Can I proceed?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Ma'am.
please go ahead.
Yes. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. This is BC Kavita from Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science, Chennai. Thank you, ma'am, for giving this opportunity. The paper what I'm going to present today is controlling wheelchair based on brain waves for paralyzed people. As we all know that paralyzed people surely needs help of other assistants or helpers to move around for their day-to-day activities. So what we need
Ma'am,
is,
sorry.
yes, please, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you please make a full screen? So
Yeah,
is-
yeah. Is it visible now, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Right. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I'll continue. Like paralyzed people will surely need an assistant so that they can move around and can be made able to do their daily activities. So this work is actually based upon a mechanism by which we can help the paralyzed people to move around without help, without the use of an assistant. So as an introduction, I will just have a small glimpse on the embedded system that we are using on. This embedded system is a combination of hardware and software. And this can be a combination of many systems which can be designed for a specific function, and it can be integrated with a larger system. So we use this embedded systems in our day-to-day activities in all our consumer goods, as well as like washing machines, dishwashers, and this can be used for many fields like agriculture, industries, automobiles, etc. So the system what we have is actually the brain signals. Actually, we make use of the brain signals here. The brain signals are being analyzed, and these brain signals are processed, and these brain signals can be used for moving this particular wheelchair. Like I told you, the paralyzed people will be sitting on a wheelchair, and maybe an assistant or attender will be there who is going to help these people to move around. So what we do is we cannot always depend on attenders and people to attend them. And then if you have a automated system where there can be a mechanism by which the brain signals are being analyzed, like the person wants to move to the left direction or the right direction or forward direction. If he focuses on the brain signals, and the brain signals can be used to the brain signal can be analyzed, and then if these signals can be used to move the particular wheelchair in a particular direction, definitely it will help, and it will help the person to be like he feels that he's independent and is able to move in a particular direction. That is the aim of our work actually. So here we are, as I told you, the EEG signals are going to be taken, and these sensors, EEG sensors, are placed on the body of the particular paralyzed person. And this paralyzed person needs to concentrate. Actually, he wants to he needs to be calm. He needs to concentrate, and if he wants to move forward, the brain signals will be in like such a direction that his mind, okay, I want to move forward. The signals are being analyzed, and then this particular signals are being processed and then given to the system, this particular motor system by which the signals, the particular wheelchair can move in the particular direction. So this particular system is not actually widely adopted now. It is actually in the study phase actually, and we suggest a mechanism by which this particular mechanism can be used to analyze a signal, and this is actually in the working phase, processing phase. So here these signals can be taken by the sensors. The sensors will be placed on the body of the patient, as I told you, and these brainwave sensors will be receiving the signals. So the signals will be processed, and we have a processing system by which the signals are being processed, and then we are going to use the signals for moving the particular wheelchair. Now, as I told you, this particular diagram will explain more. The signals will be taken and by the brainwave sensors, and the brainwave sensors has particular reference points or electrodes which are placed on the backside of the ear of the particular person, and the signals will be taken and the signals will be analyzed, and the raw signal will be and the signals will be transmitted to the module which is placed on the particular wheelchair, and this signals will be interpreted by the motor mechanism, and the motor mechanism will help the person to move in which particular direction. The wheelchair will be moving in a direction which he or she will want to move. So this is the mechanism by which we can see that the particular signals are being received, the particular signals are being analyzed, and the signals are being transmitted by the Zigbee module. And once the signals are being received by the particular motor, what you call wheelchair, and the mechanism that is being attached to the wheelchair, this particular signals are being analyzed, and with the help of motors, the particular wheelchair can be moved in a particular direction. Here we are using ATMEC processor, Arduino processor to have this mechanism. Along with, as I told you, we are using Zigbee module so that we'll have a limited span of space that is only required for our application, and can be this particular wheelchair can be moved in a particular direction as decided. Now the World Health Organization has put some standards for this particular wheelchair. Like how this wheelchair can be used for a particular paralyzed person, and there are certain specifications that is being recommended by the World Health Organization with respect to the strength, the durability, and the particular how it should be, and how it should become it should comfortably fit the particular person without causing any other physical problems or other disturbance to the person. Now this is the diagrammatics. This is a picture which shows the wheelchair that is being used, and this type of mechanism can be used to place a person properly, and the electrodes can be placed on the person, and as I explained, the brainwaves are being captured by the sensors, and the signals that are being processed by the mechanism by the particular setup that is placed on the wheelchair, and the signals are being analyzed, and then the wheelchair can be made to move. The Bluetooth technology is also being used so that you can have a transmission within a particular range that is 100 meters, up to 100 meters it will support, and this is a common platform, this is a common mechanism used for this.
Hello, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption. You have only 2 minutes left.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yeah, the brainwave sensors, the brainwave sensors will be actually collecting the signals that is being that is the person has to concentrate, and when he wants to move in a particular direction, the signals are being detected and they are digitized, and then it needs to be transmitted to the hardware equipment that is being connected to the wheelchair. So as I have already explained the particular block diagram for this, where this particular signals are being being processed. I'm just rushing through. This is the motor driver that can be used for this particular. We have made a model actually, and a model which a prototype, and is still in the study phase. So this type of small prototype what we have made has enabled. So when we have seen that when the particular person we have seen that this is how we have checked for the particular thing. So once a particular you can place we have made a particular headset, and this particular headset can be placed on the particular patient, and when the particular patient concentrates, and when the particular person wants to turn left or right, he needs to concentrate on the movement, and he needs to give one eye blink. So it is like a start signal, and when he wants to turn right, he just wants to concentrate that he wants to turn in the right direction, and just one eye blink he needs to give. So this particular signals are being taken, and then the signal will be processed, and then the motor will slowly start turning in the right direction. Same thing can be, and later if he wants to turn to the left or move forward, the same thing, he needs to wait for a particular period of time. He needs to concentrate, and he needs to make in mind that I need to move in the left direction. Again, he needs to give one eye blink, and then same thing, the particular signals will be taken, it will be processed. And so what we have seen is there will be a small time gap between the processing of the information, and then the motor will slowly move in the left direction. So we have experience in our study, we have experienced a small time delay, but have seen that the particular model is working in a stable manner, which can be used for a paralyzed person with more safety. That is what we have analyzed in our study. So these are the moments, these are the particular snapshot what we have taken, and these are some of the references what we have made during the study. So as I told you, this is still in the study phase, and the results so far we have obtained is enabling the motor to move in a particular direction. So actually we experimented on ourselves itself, like we made a small model, and we checked with the particular signals, and the particular indication will get on the you can see over here. You can see that this, you can see the signals, and when we are trying to move, we want to move in the forward direction. The particular small motor what we have made is trying to move in the forward direction. This is what we have experimented as of now, but we have now we are still in the learning phase, and we'll be making the model soon. And we are actually a team of people consisting of 4 members. They are still working on it, and they're trying to make the model. And we think that this model will be helpful for the persons who are actually paralyzed, and we can come up with a particular working model. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Kavita, so for such a lovely presentation, and I must compliment you for the device that you have designed. So just 2 questions which I had. So what is the material that you are using for making this wheelchair? Because in such projects, I've always seen that the material engineering is a big challenge, as in what
Yes.
material do you use? So can you tell us something about what materials are being used?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, we have not actually made the working model. I told you, like we have made a small motor, which can a small prototype, like a toy mechanism, which can move in the left direction or right direction. We are actually now working on it, and we have seen that this brain, the particular model is analyzing the brain signal, and then it is trying to move in the direction what we want actually to do. But we have the process is still in the ongoing phase, and we are yet to design the particular wheelchair, like what I showed a picture. We have not actually made a working model, only a small prototype we have made.
Okay, because the biggest constraint here would be a signal which is, good enough to drive a toy, might not be
Yes.
good enough to drive a bigger chair also. So in that case, is
Yes.
there some kind? So my concern was that have you started working on the model, or have you considered the material engineering of what models you are going to use?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, as you told, we are still in the working phase, study phase, and we have only made a toy model, as you told, and we are actually working on that material study by which we can make a working model. And our team is actually making a study on it and trying to come up with a working model.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kavita, for your presentation, and all the best for your future research.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I stop sharing?
Yes, please. Next, I would like to invite Shamsuddin K to present his work on enhanced AES for improved privacy in 5G-enabled IoT networks.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, please share your screen and start the presentation.
Yes. Yeah. Today I'm going to present a paper on enhanced AES for improved privacy in 5G-enabled IoT networks. So the topics which we're going to discuss in presentation is problem statement, motivation, methodology, result and discussion, and conclusion. So the problem statement for our study, what we have chosen is to compare and analyze the advanced encryption standard, that is AES algorithm, with the modified version of the AES, which is termed here as enhanced advanced encryption standard in AES algorithm, in terms of delay and area. Okay. And the target was for improving the delay and area with respect to the IoT-enabled 5G network. So this is a network scenario we have considered for our study, where IoT node is going to interact with the 5G network through the IoT network. And between the IoT node and IoT network, we have used encryption EAES And also between the IoT network and the 5G network, we have used the same key AES. For our algorithm, the key generation, we have used this block diagram. So this is similar to the AES block diagram. So what is the modification here is the the round number what we have included in the random key. So this is the part which we have to generate. This is the algorithm for the encryption. So 128-bit plain text will be the input, and 128-bit key will be the input to our algorithm, and the output of this will be the 128-bit ciphertext. So it performs the pre-round transformation on the plain text. Totally, the 10 rounds were used, and when the round from 1 to 9, we perform the per round transformation, that is sub-byte, shift rows, mixed column, and round key. Then when the 10th round is there, we perform in the last round only the sub-byte, shift rows, and add round key. So your mixed column will not be done in the 10th row. So this is a block diagram of the enhanced AES. So here, as you can observe, so to generate the add round keys, we are giving the input as a plain text and also a randomized key. A randomized key is going to help the add round key will be unpredictable for the hacker or the attacker actually. So to generate the random number, we are using the puffs. Puffs are nothing but the physical uncontrollable functions which are used to improve the performance of the AES here. The secret keys are randomized using the puff. So puff is going to help to generate the randomization of the secret key. So puffs are used to generate the pseudo-random numbers. The AES security is improved using the pseudo-random sequence of adequate length. Because of the randomness of the puff, okay, it prevents the intruder from driving any sequence and launching the multiple attacks on the text. So to study that how the algorithm is going to behave, okay, in the IoT environment, we have used the Puja simulator. Puja simulator is used to analyze the IoT nodes. So we can create a IoT nodes in a Puja simulator, and we can send and receive the information between the nodes. Okay, so it is used to simulate and communicate between the two IoT nodes and the radio traffic environment. The simulation is run for the verify the packet exchange between the client and the server. Okay, and the mode window displays all the information about the packet that is being transmitted between the client and server. For example, like IP address, time of transmission, plain text and ciphertext, and UDP process. So this is a methodology which is used. So we have assumed the user equipment and AMF as a two nodes, and the handshaking between the user equipment and AMF is considered. And while handshaking, we have used the encryption for the with the AES. Okay. This is a screenshot of the Puja simulator results, where we consider the three nodes 1, 2, 3. Okay, and all the three nodes are given a different IP address, and 1 is the transmitter here. 2 and 3 are the receivers. You can consider 1 as a server, and 2 and 3 are the clients. Okay, or vice versa. So just here the direction of the data which is going from 1 to 2 and 1 to 3 here. The other way is also possible, which you can see it in the second screenshot, that is from 2 to 3 also. So the data is bidirectional here, and while sending and receiving the data, the encryption is performed. So this is a screenshot of the packets exchange between the client and the server. So just from this screenshot, I would like to show you that server, whatever the information is received here, it is the encrypted one. Okay. Similarly, whatever the client is going to receive will be the encrypted one, which will be decrypted, and the plain text will be available to the server. So optimize and The implementation, one more thing what we have tried is implementing the same algorithm on the FPGA and testing for the hardware feasibility and timing constraints. So optimized and synthesized Verilog code is developed and implemented on the FPGA kit. Both AES and enhanced AES is implemented so that the comparative study can be made. So FPGA devices which we have selected for our studies were Spartan 6, Arctic 6, Kintex 6, and Vertex 6. So 4 different devices with different computational capability and hardware capability have been chosen to study the variation based on the different types of the hardware, how the algorithm is going to behave. So the result shows that minimum delay for modified AES as compared to the AES on the different devices. So which is listed in this table. The EAS and AES on the Spartan 6 shows the delay of 6.66 and 6.691. There is a marginal improvement. And similarly in the offset 9.013 and 9.032. Again, it's a marginal improvement. Similar things we have observed in all other FPGA devices. Okay, the table 1 shows the timing constraints, the delay and the offset. Similarly, the device utilization, the hardware utilization of the FPGA is shown in the table 2. The sliced LUTs, registers, flip-flops, and DRAMs are compared here in this table, which all shows that there is a marginal improvement of the hardware utilization also. But in 1 or 2 cases, the hardware utilization has been increased. For example, in the Spartan 6, you can see that AES is using the slices of 2197, whereas EAES, which is the enhanced AES, is using the 2366. This is expected in some cases. Just to enhance the delay or the performance, we need some additional hardware. Okay. So the comparison is shown here of all the FPGA devices, Spartan 6, Kintex, and Arctic 7. The comparison in this graph is made for the delay. As you can see that the orange curve is for the AES, which is higher than the blue curve, which is for EAES, that is enhanced AES. Okay. Enhanced AES uses less delay as compared to the AES. Similarly, the results will compare of the different devices for the hardware utilization. So in each graph, you can observe that the orange curve is using the more hardware, whereas blue line is using the less hardware. So to conclude my presentation, in IoT-enabled 5G network, data security and the privacy is a major area of concern. The amount of data handled will be a very huge in IoT network. The data processing should be faster. The encryption and decryption has to be faster because of handling of the huge data. So we need to develop a cryptographic technique which should going to adhere the timing constraints of the application. So in this paper, we have enhanced the AES, okay, by using the PUF, that is physical unclonable functions, to provide the improved privacy for data sharing between the IoT devices. The simulation conducted with the Contiki OS using the Puja simulator and also using the Verilog HDL on the FPGA devices shows that the proposed techniques perform marginally better over the traditional AES techniques based on the speed and the area. So these are the following references which we have referred. Thank you. Any question?
Yeah, thank you, Shamsuddin, for your presentation. Anybody would like to ask a question out of the audience? Yeah. So, Shamsuddin, you just need to tell me that did you calculate the complexity of this enhanced AES vis-a-vis the AES, and what all communication overheads are you incurring? Because the graph that you showed, there is not too much of a significant increase in the performance because the graphs are almost overlapping with each other, barring a little bit of improvement. What was the data size of the messages that you sent And how would you say that the time complexity of the algorithm has not got increased because of the communication overhead which your enhanced encryption is causing?
Yes, ma'am. We have given the more stress on the encryption, ma'am, actually, rather than the data overhead, because the packet size we have not considered. We have not related to the timing constraints, actually. If we consider the packet overhead, then we need to study that one properly. Then only I can comment.
Okay. Also, could you tell me that is it pertinent only to the 5G networks as mentioned in your study, or can it be implemented in the existing networks also? Because I didn't see, even in your simulations, the essence of 5G was missing. Like,
Yes, the
yeah.
data, whatever the analysis we have made, it's almost generic, ma'am. It can be applied to anywhere else, not related to specific to the 5G.
Yeah, because that was my question, that you have not done any network or anything which is 5G.
Yes.
Anything which is 5G. So that's what my question was, that is it a generic, can this encryption algorithm be applied generically, or have you done something to tailor make it to 5G only?
No, ma'am. Right now, the study shows that a generic environment study only. The 5G scenario we have considered, but we couldn't showcase here that in the paper that how 5G will be replicated.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation, Jamsuddin. All the best.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Next, I would like to invite Kavita BC again for her presentation on mid-air gesture for hand control system using leap motion robo.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll share my screen. Ma'am, is my screen visible to you?
Yeah, you may please go ahead.
Is it full screen, ma'am?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. This is Kavita from Hindustan Institute of Technology and Science. I would like to present the paper ID 130, that is mid-air gesture for hand control system using leap motion robot. Here we have tried to make a small robot which will move in 4 directions as of now: front, back, left, and right. And this small robot model, what we have made, can be controlled by hand gestures. If we give hand gesture by the finger in right, left, forward, and backward, this particular robot model will follow our directions. The introduction, the aim of this work is to design a small human hand tracking system, and we need to have a interaction between the human and the small module what we are going to we are proposing to make, that is a robotic module. The leap motion sensor what we are using is a small device that can that is able to sense the human hand by means of the human hand. Using fingers we can show some directions, and this particular sensor can keep a track of this movement, and then it can enable the robot to move in that particular direction. This robotic module is controlled using a leap motion controller in 3 directions: X, Y, and Z directions. And when we are not actually we need not touch the robot or give some directions. We just by moving our fingers we can that is using hand gestures. The hand gestures are observed and it is transferred to the computer, and then by translating the incoming leap motion signals into commands, the robot is going to be controlled. We have had some literature reviews regarding this, and we have seen that there are many systems that is they have been implemented, and the existing systems we have seen that they are using some mathematical model, and the implementation of hand gesture controlled robotic arm manipulator is being designed. Here the leap motion controller is going to detect the position, orientation, velocity parameters, and the MATLAB library reads these parameters, and from the position and orientation of data a transformation matrix was generated, and then based upon the parameters obtained, the robot was able to move in a particular direction. And the particular prototypes were developed by the previous researchers, And what we have seen is because of this, in the different models, what we have seen in the literature review, we have seen that the systems were working properly, but the stability was actually less. That is, the precision was slightly reduced. So we thought of like we can introduce some 3D cameras. Here we are using two camera modules. Some camera modules can be used by which exact position can be taken by these cameras, and the information can be conveyed to the processing system. And then this particular by enabling the IoT technique, we can improve the actual precision and the stability of the system. And this method, if can be implemented in a wider scenario, can be used for industrial automation also, where we use many robots to move in a particular direction and do some work that human beings cannot go and do directly in certain environments. The objective was to create an interaction between human hand and robotic module through hand gestures using a leap motion sensor, and the robot what we need to develop will be governed by simple hand gestures in the required directions. And this particular module what we made, we tried to make in such a way that the robot module was able to detect some obstacles also, because in the previous model what we have seen in the literature review, some of the models were not precise and were not stable, because if there is an obstacle, it was found that the robot was not moving, and there was some stability issues. But now in this working model, we try to make it in such a way that if there is a particular small obstacle in front, the robot will stand there. It will not move. That means it will be stable there itself, but will not move. This is the proposed diagram for the system. So where we can see that there are hand gestures. The hand gestures are being taken by the leap motion controller, and the signals will be given to the particular signals will be given to the laptop what we are using, and the process signals are being transmitted and then received by the particular robo module, the module that is being associated with this robo module, and this ATMEC processor will be taking the signals, and then it can control the motors, which helps the module to move in which direction what we need. And we also have some mechanism by which we can give some alarms in the case of some obstacles. The robot will not move thereafter there is an obstacle, but remains stable and gives up alarm signals. A small robotic module was developed which runs on 4 wheels and that can be controlled by a hand gesture. And these hand gestures are recognized by the leap motion controllers. And the leap motion signals from the leap motion controllers is being processed by a PC. And the values are converted to serial data and will be transmitted by the Zigbee module. The received signal, the receiving module will be attached with the robo module, and the transmitted data are received by the receiver section. And then the signals are being converted and then by the ATMEC processor. And this signals from the ATMEC processor is going to drive the motors. What is going to drive the, it is going to govern the movement of this particular robo module. So in the case of, as I told you, if there is an obstacle also, the particular module is able to sense it and it remains stable, and the module will not jumble, or it will not be, it will be still in the stable position, and it can also give an alert signal by means of a buzzer. Leap motion control is an optical hand movement tracking device which has high accuracy and can be interfaced to a particular laptop and the signals, and the sensing zone of the sensor can extend up to 1 meter, and we need to keep the particular laptop in front of this particular hand gesture device, and it can sense up to 10 centimeter to 60 centimeter. And the particular leap motion controller also makes use of infrared cameras. 2 cameras are there, and there are infrared LEDs that are also used in such a way that the LEDs will generate 300 frames per second of the signal. And by means of right hand Cartesian coordinate system, the particular position or movement of the particular robo module can be controlled. The data
Sorry, ma'am, sorry for the interruption, but we are running out of the time, so please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'll just rush through my slides. The hand movements are actually sensed by the leap motion controller and can be converted to the signals by means of the interface, and then the frame values are going to govern the particular movements of the particular robo module. The data processing unit consists of the UART system, UART protocol, which definitely helps in transmitting the information in serial format, and then this particular mechanism also has buffering mechanism also, which also helps to store the signals and the signals will not be lost. Which will not be lost. Now the data reception mechanism, the data receiving section is a module that is placed along with the particular robo module, and the particular signal, the particular system is perfectly synchronized with the transmitting system by a transmitting clock. And as I told you, buffering mechanism is also there, which prevents loss of frames or data. We are using a ZigBee wireless sensor network, which facilitates the hand movement, the transmission of hand movement to the particular, the signals from the hand movement to the particular robo module. It is in a limited radius. We can use a ZigBee wireless sensor network. And the particular processing section what we have used is ATMEC processor. And as I told you, two motors, DC motors are used, which helps the particular robo to move in which direction as being given by the person who governs it, whether in the right, forward direction or backward direction, etc. We have tried to make a small prototype, as I see showing it here. And we have tried in our lab, like the particular the robo is able to move in the forward and backward direction. And we also checked with the obstacles when we placed some small obstacle in front, like a cardboard or something. It was able to detect it, and it remained stable without moving. And the precision of movement was very high, what we have seen in the small module. And we are still working on it. And our findings is like this particular mechanism can be used for making a small robo system that can be used for industrial environment, which can help the human beings do certain tasks. For example, in certain industrial areas where people cannot have direct access to the environment. So what we have seen in our work is we can go for future work also. Like we are now only concentrating on the movement of the fingers, and using the movement of fingers, we are actually trying to govern the robo movement. You can also add some features like movement of eyeballs or head gestures also. You can also work on it. So we are actually trying to work on it now. As of now, we have made only the movement of the robo module with respect to our finger movements. We are working on eye movement as well as once it is getting done, we feel that this particular prototype can be developed to a working model, which can be used for industrial applications. And these are some of the references what we have gone through. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Kavita, for your presentation. And it seems to be kind of you are working on these robotic devices at a large scale in your organization. So
Yes,
yeah, that's a wonderful thing. So I don't have any questions. If the audience has any questions, you are most welcome to ask the questions. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next participant. Thank you so much, Dr. Kavita.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my research with you people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Manasvi Patwa to present her research on quantitative assessment and reduction of ocean plastic, motivating actions to mitigation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'll just share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the title of our paper is Quantitative Assessment and Prediction of Ocean Plastic, Motivating Actions to Mitigation. India has witnessed substantial growth both in production and consumption of plastic due to increased input of discarded waste from various sources. And recent research has found that by 2030, even with the current interventions, 20 million metric tons will still be reaching our aquatic systems. And if in the next 20 years, aggressive interventions are not done, both immediately and over the long haul, the annual flow will reach up to 600 million metric tons cumulatively. So the main contributors of such pollutions are mismanaged plastic waste, wastewater discharge, inland navigations, directly at sea via aquaculture, shipping, and fishing activities. It enters and persists in the marine ecosystem of the world oceans. And the river is acting as a carrier of plastics and microplastics, transporting significantly large quantities into the ocean. Now, quantification of land-based input from coastal populations worldwide already exists, but assessment of contribution from inland population through riverine systems are yet to be researched. Coming to the lacuna in the before that, this slide has hyperlinks which shows the alarming situation of plastic pollution. Now, what is the lacuna in the existing system? So the existing systems now the research on plastic was available, but microplastic has emerged as a key pollutant recently. And there are very few studies on microplastics in India. And thus there is a critical need to bridge our knowledge gap in our understanding of the plastic pollution. And most of the research carried out discusses about the analysis of amount of plastic waste generated on land in a specific area and fails to discuss about the rate of growth and amount of plastic waste generation through rivers in next few years. Now, coming to problem definition, the main aim of the project is to collect all the plastic waste that has been dumped into the oceans and convert it into a single unit. It also intends to use the ML model to forecast the next 5-year plastic pollution crisis. Now, what is the methodology we use? First step was data gathering. As no ready data was available, we collected various research papers, news articles, and went through them. From here, large amount of data was collected, which was sometimes inaccurate. And next step was data segregation. We segregated the data firstly on the basis of north and south regions for easy gatheration, and then it was further segregated into land, oceans, and lakes. Next step, we defined the data to obtain a comparative analysis. Since the data regarding plastic was found in various different units, it was then converted into a single common unit, that is microplastics per meter cube, that is concentration. We then visualized this data, and an ML model was created. Basically, a multivariate regression model was created, which gave an accuracy of 97% for predicting the next 5 years data. Now, this is a modular diagram. First, we collected all the data from research paper, newsletters, government sites, and then this data was processed, segregated, and refined by converting all units into microplastics per meter cube. Then by using multivariate regression model, we trained and tested data with algorithm. Then a web application was created. We visualized the plastic footprint on heat map. And after that, using ML model, we predicted the data on plastic generated in the next 5 years. And then we are yet to generate a report which will which will be sent to respective authorities and awareness groups suggesting the alarming rate of plastic accumulation. Now, coming to the main constraints that we faced in this research project, the plastic waste to be emitted in the ocean. Now, the points suggested here are a few of the constraints we faced. We'll go in detail of some of these constraints. Now, the plastic waste to be emitted into the ocean is determined by the given formula on the screen. It is calculated by multiplying the municipal solid waste, MSW, by percentage of plastic waste, that is 3%, to arrive at a volume of plastic waste being generated. Now, this is then multiplied by the proportion of mismanaged plastic waste, that is 87%, and to generate the volume of mismanaged plastic waste, and 15% of this gives the lower limit of plastic waste going to the sea, and 40% gives the upper limit. And since the amount of plastic majorly depends on temporal variability of rainfall, its distribution over the year, and considering there are pre-monsoon and post-monsoon variations, the data found in the research paper isn't always consistent. Now, the next, this slide, the following graph shows the regional input of river plastics to oceans. 45,500 tons of plastic was discharged by Ganges River per month near August, which came down to less than 150 tons per month during December and March. This shows the effect of rainfall on plastic accumulation. Now, the next constraint was since riverine plastics are taken at only selected sampling sites and using different sampling procedures along the course of river, the total contribution of microplastic to the river becomes difficult to calculate. Variation of microplastics in rivers and oceans are quite skewed, and their unit changes. So the conversion of this unit to one single unit for data comparison was a tedious task. We have attached a snippet which shows the unit conversion. Now this is the heat map. The plastic from the land disintegrates, forming microplastics, which gets dumped into the rivers or its tributaries. The river then flows these microplastics into the ocean. The refined broad range data for amount of plastic obtained from research of land plastic, river microplastic, and ocean plastic is plotted on this map. And the larger dots show a sign of concern where action needs to be taken. And the purple dot represents the amount of plastic in reaching the ocean through major rivers. And the red dots represent the microplastic abundance in all the riverine through the riverine systems. And the orange dot represents the amount of plastic in tons in the land, which then eventually gets into the ocean. Now, further are some visualizations, other visualizations of our data. Next, coming to the factors that are affecting plastic pollution. Plastic is so widely used, it almost ends up in the environment, causing more plastic pollution. And not just because someone leaves a piece of plastic on the street instead of putting it in a waste bin, but there are many other factors which contribute to ocean plastic, which are explained further. So here, these are the factors we considered by calculating the plastic entering sea. So the plastic entering sea is basically the amount of plastic waste generated. The beach plastic, it is the total amount of plastic waste that was collected from the beach for particular years for different states. And the population, the data for the population was obtained from government websites for the year 2011, 2020. And then the population had two other columns, that is rural and urban. And population becomes an important factor because as the population increased, the amount of plastic was also seemed to be increasing. Next factor was rainfall. As I previously explained, the temporal variability of rainfall affects the amount of plastic entering the sea, and the data for the rainfall was found from IMD's official websites. Next is MSW, that is municipal solid waste. This factor is very concerning, very useful in finding plastic entering sea, as I explained in the formula earlier. Now, coming to the next slide, that is fishing. Fishing has recently come up as a major factor contributing to plastic in the sea due to discarded gears and nets, etc. And the amount of plastic waste generated due to fishing and activities could be calculated by using 4 factors, that is knowing the area of the country, length of peninsular coastline, exclusive economic zones, and amount of fishing. COVID, next coming to the COVID has increased the amount of plastic generation which finds its way to the ocean. Like the mask and all are entering the oceans and increasing the amount of plastics. Now, harbors also have a significant role in adding the plastic to the sea, as they have also come up as an important factor affecting plastic in the oceans. Wind speed, the wind carries the lightweight microplastics from the land to the ocean, increasing the plastic entering ocean. Natural calamities like flood and landslide carry major amount of plastic to the ocean. Now, these are further we have visualized these factors through heat maps. We'll just go through it. This slide shows the fishing activity, which we considered that there are 4 factors that affected how the amount of plastic entering sea due to fishing activities. Next, we got Microsoft AI for Earth grant for this project. So we were awarded with $15,000 credits to use Azure services. So Microsoft offers various services. From that, we chose the following few services. I will just go through the slides once. So we used Azure Virtual Machine for all the computing, and then we used Azure Machine Learning Studio, which helped us to use the linear regression and calculate the amount of plastic entering sea as the dependent variable, and all the factors that are mentioned as the independent variables. Then there is Azure Backup we use for storing data. Then Power BI and Power BI Embedded were the visualization techniques which we used for Azure services. So basically, we had $15,000 credit, which we completely used for our project given by the Microsoft AI for Earth grant. Next, the next work plan is till now we have deployed machine learning model on Azure services with ocean plastic dataset, and we have used Power BI to visualize the output. We will add more features to our. We have also built a website, so we'll add more features to our website, make it more user friendly. And the next work plan has major thing remaining, that is the announcement or notification page, which will send the notification about the alarming situations to the government websites. coming to the conclusion. Now, at least 14 million tons of plastic ends up in the ocean every year, and it's seen to be growing as time progresses. Now, in this project, we have researched about the amount of plastic entering into the ocean and all the factors that contributes in increasing marine litter for past 10 years. We have created heat maps for each of these, and by using all this information, we will be able to predict plastic entering ocean till 2025 with the help of ML model. Thank you. These are the few references we used for our project. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Manasvi.
Yes.
And congratulations for receiving the grant. Can you tell me what domain does exactly your project fall into? Because though you spoke about a lot of things about sustainability, about environmental protection, about the sustainable development goals, as well as ML, but I couldn't see any results as such, as in what are you trying to evaluate, or what is the methodology that you have followed? When you say we applied, machine learning pipeline, what was the outcome that you've seen? So can you just throw some light on that? What kind of results have you obtained, or what is it that you are trying to exactly analyze?
Yes, sure, ma'am. So basically, our project was a research project under like the data we have generated was not available anywhere. So our main task was to generate the data which affects plastic entering sea, and we applied a regression model. We got the data for 10 years, right? So for predicting how much the plastic will be increased in the next 5 years, we used ML model, and that does the predictions based. If we get the values of all the factors that I mentioned for the next years, we'll get the value of plastic entering sea for the further years. And main aim was to generate an awareness of how the plastic is affecting the ocean systems. And also the data research about plastic on land is available, but not in the riverine systems or in the oceans. So the need of this project was critical.
All right. And what was the methodology that you followed while data gathering or data analysis?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, the data so our group, all 5 of the authors went to the various research papers, and we found the data, but the data was sometimes inconsistent or did not match align with other research papers. So we still got we contacted the government systems. We mailed them. The government systems did help us with some of the data. Then for calculating plastic entering sea, we got the formula that how much from municipal solid waste we can calculate plastic entering sea. We got the data about municipal solid waste from government website, and from research articles also we did get data. So this was a process of data gathering, and we just visualized this data on Power BI.
Okay, thank you so much, Manasvi, for your presentation, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll just stop the share.
Yes. So next, I would like to invite Anjana Menon for presenting her research work on rainfall for forecasting using deep learning models.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Is the screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, it's visible. Please go ahead.
So good evening, one and all present over here. I'm Anjana Menon, and today I'll be presenting on the topic rainfall forecasting using deep learning algorithms. So rainfall is an important parameter when we consider any weather forecasting parameters, as it influences many fields such as agriculture, ecosystem, etc. And when we talk about a country like India, where agriculture plays an important role in the survival of many people, these days rainfall prediction becomes a major problem. So prediction of rainfall gives the awareness to the people, and it helps them to know about the rainfall in advance and take the precautionary actions. Deep learning allows to create a model from the time series data. So it allows to detect and predict the future data from the data or the events that have been occurred in the past. So here we have dealt with obtaining the models of rainfall data by using deep learning models like LSTM, CNN, and MLP, and a comparative study have been done between these models, considering MAE and MSE as parameters. And talking about the system overview, here the rainfall data has been given as the input, and it has been pre-processed, and the 3 deep learning models have been applied on the data, and the model selection, that like each model have been selected, and then the selected model data have been partitioned, that is into test and train, into 80:20 ratio, and performance evaluation have been checked, and comparison have been considered as the result. And the methodology, that is the methods used are like LSTM, that is long short-term memory, CNN, convolution neural network, and MLP, that is multi-layer perceptron. And the evaluation of the models and comparison of these models have been done considering MSE and ME as the performance metrics. From the literature survey done, like LSTM is considered to be the most commonly used deep learning model, as it is applied only on the time series data. On the other hand, when we consider CNN and MLP, they can be applied on time series data as well as on image data. The data set used here, we have used 2 data sets. That is, data set 1 consists of state-wise rainfall in India from the year 1901 to 2015. On the other hand, we have used the second data set that consists of average rainfall of different districts in India. This is the histogram analysis that have been done. This is for data set 1, like yearly basis, and on individual month-wise histogram analysis have been done. And from this, it is observed that in the month of June, July, August, and September, the higher amount of rainfall is observed. And in the year of 1950, the high amount of rainfall is observed as compared to the other years. This is the histogram analysis for data set 2. It also shows a similar analysis where in the month of June, July, August, and September, higher amount of rainfall in have been observed. And this is the heat map for data set 1. Basically, heat map shows the correlation between the amounts of rainfall over the months. And here also it is clearly visible that the central portion, that is in the month of June, July, August, and September, we could see a higher amount of rainfall. Here, the lighter blocks represent the higher amount of rainfall, and the darker blocks represent the low amount of rainfall. And this is the heat map of data set 2, where here also similar results have been observed, where in those 4 months, the amount of rainfall is observed high. The software that have been used are pandas in Python, Keras, and scikit-learning. The LSTM, the first model that have been used is LSTM. So LSTM is basically an artificial RNN, that is recurrent neural network architecture, used in the field of deep learning. So LSTM has feedback connections, and it can process not only single data points such as images, but also an entire sequence of data. So here we have a cell, and we have 3 gates, that is an input gate, output gate, and a forget gate. And here the forget gate helps in solving the vanishing gradient problem that is encountered by traditional RNNs. And moving on to MLP. MLP is a class of feed-forward ANN, and it consists of 3 layers: the input layer, output layer, and the hidden layer. And moving on to CNN, like CNN are a specialized type of artificial neural network that basically use a mathematical operations called convolution in place of general matrix multiplication in at least one of these layers. And it consists of 3 layers, namely convolutional layers, pooling layer, and fully connected layers. This is the model loss observed for MLP and LSTM. The x-axis shows the number of epochs, and I've considered 10 epochs, and the
Anjana, can you please stop here? Can you just let me know what does this graph that you're showing depict? Because your validation loss is so high compared to your training loss when your epochs are increasing. That means your model is extremely underfitted.
Yes.
So, what I could see till now is I couldn't find a connect between what you're doing and why are you applying an LSTM on a rain prediction, whereas you are not dealing with a real-time data, or you're not using a time series data as such. And even your heat map kind of didn't make. Can you just go back a few slides? Yeah, one more slide back, where you were showing the histograms. Yeah, can you come to the histograms? Yes. So no, before this. So can you explain these axes? What values do you have? These 2000 on your X and Y? What are you plotting?
Ma'am, x-axis, like basically they are the quantiles. And the y-axis are basically the amount of rainfall in that consecutive month.
No, what is your x-axis?
The quantiles, the quantity of the input that I have given.
What is the input that you've given? Like I'm unable to understand. Either let's say you are, it makes a sense if you are plotting months on the x-axis and amount of rainfall on the y-axis, but I don't understand these figures like 2000, 1200. Then you do not have similar kind of like for June to September, you have 4000 versus 1400. Suddenly your graph has flipped, whereas in the October to December you have the range going from 0 to 1200 on the x-axis. Suddenly from June to September your x-axis is 0 to 4000, and it has kind of flipped. So I really am trying to figure out what exactly are you trying to infer or do, and creating a heat map which gives no sense. Like, can you go ahead and tell me what does your heat map signify? It signifies that between July, between July and Jan, there's a negative correlation. Between July and if I say July and July, there's 100%. I don't understand what does this heat map you generally create to understand the correlation between two different attributes. Your months are not attributes. Months are the quantity on the basis of which you are evaluating the rainfall. So I am not able to understand what is the meaning of this heat map also here. You know, at times what we do is, because machine learning is a big term and deep learning is a big term, we try to fit in everything somehow, but I'm not able to understand what is it that you are trying to explain, that you are trying to tell, or that you are trying to depict, because everywhere the depiction of your results is very, very contradictory, or very, very it's not giving out the essence of what you want to plot.
So basically, ma'am, a comparative study have been done between these three deep learning models, ma'am, and
they are very, very. You do not use LSTM is generally used for natural language processing applications, right? Or you'll use it for a time series data. Excuse me, where you have, let's say, stock market or something like that. And then CNN is an image processing which you will predominantly use for a computer vision application. So comparing an apple with orange makes no sense to me. I don't know, like within LSTM, you could have taken RNN, LSTM, BERT, Roberta, makes some sense to me. You are choosing a single category of algorithms. But here you have chosen, like, I really don't know. So that's my input to you. Probably you need to read more.
I'll look into it. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So this is a predicted graph, for data set 1, where the prediction have been done for 30 days prior, like 7 days, 15 days, and 30 days prior, where the x-axis include the input that I have given, and the y-axis include the amount of rainfall. And this is the predicted graph for data set 2, where the input have been given for October, November, and December months, and it shows that it has minimum chances of rainfall during that months. And this is a comparison that have been done between MSE and MAE for MLP, LSTM, and CNN. And like when these three models have been applied on the data set, on comparing these models, LSTM basically performs better, like gives better performance than MLP and CNN, and rainfall prediction graph up to 30 days have been done. These are the references. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Anjana. Any question from the audience? There are no questions from the audience. I think we'll move forward. I would like to invite Veena.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to invite Veena Jokhaka to present her work on transformation of data flow diagram to PetriNet.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Veena Jokhakar, and I'm here to present on the topic transformation of data flow diagram to PetriNet. My co-author is Dr. Tejas Shah for this paper. So we'll start with the introduction. That is, we are actually combining DFD. We are converting DFD to a semantic aspect with a mathematical format using PetriNet. Okay, so DFD basically is used for specifying and constructing and visualizing and showcasing the transformation of data flow in the system. And PetriNet, on the other side, it is a mathematical modeling language to represent the system's behavior at the runtime. Now, we are going to use a case study based upon train ticket reservation system. And we have used a tool to simulate this PetriNet, that is a mathematical simulation, simulating model. So we have used a PetriNet, that is PNet. It is also called as PNet, that is place and transition net. And it uses the graph theory bipyrate graph, directed bipyrate graph to represent the technique. And there are some places that is represented in terms of circle. We will understand about the transition and the circle with a figure in the next coming slide. And transition, that also will be seen in the next slide. So transition is also depicted how the system transfers from one system to another system, one phase to another phase. That transition is shown in the form of a bar we'll be seeing in further. And it uses availability and release of resources, whichever are input or output. So those inputs and outputs are now known as availability of resources that is available. So this is PetriNet. We have this circle as I represented earlier. We'll be using circle that is called as places. So this is place 1, this is P0, and this is P1. So P1 transmits the event that is represented in 1 by a binary non-negative integer. So it is represented as 1 and termed as T0, that is transition 0. Okay, so this place actually can contain a non-negative integer with a set of token. This dot is a token. Okay, it is not that only one token would be there. There could be one or more or many tokens, 1, 2, 3, any number of tokens could be there that are actually passed on to the next transition. So now this bar is called as a transition. That shows the transition of the system from one process. Actually, when we see it in the terms of DFD, it is a process. Fine. That process itself now it is called as a transition here. So it is so once it gets enabled, The moment the transition gets enabled, it is termed as input 1, P1. So PetriNet graph actually basically contains P, that is the place, T, that is transition, W, that is weight. A combination of all these three things is depicted in a PetriNet. Rather, the weight is particularly depicted in the colored PetriNet. That would be represented in our extension of this work. That is a weight. W is the weight that it carries. And this is about the data flow diagram that we already understand. In data flow, we have entities and a set of flow. We have a set of arcs to represent the connection, the movement of data from input to output. In between, we have the process. So this way, we have entity here, entity 1. Entity 1 produces the data as an input to the process 1.0 that represents gives an output of data that is inputted in the database. Now in PetriNet, this database is also termed as a place itself.
Sorry for the interruption, ma'am. We are running out of the time, so please
yeah,
stick to the time limit.
Sure. So moreover, we are working with first level of DFD in this program, this paper, because first level of DFD has the process description. 0 level DFD doesn't have the process description. It has only one circle, only as a whole system it is showing. So earlier work has been already done with the same concept of PetriNet, but not the one that we are representing. So the earlier this reference number 9, they have done the visualization respective to PetriNet with a high-level semantic language, and a formal procedure and specification for the transformation has been shown. The other one, the 11 number reference has shown the colored PetriNet using the same business process modeling language. And some rest of all the references have only worked with the UML diagrams. All of them, you may just have a look at it. Someone has worked with sequence diagram, another state chart diagram, others have worked in use case, some have used the activity diagram. And as such, if we see, all other working has been done on the UML diagrams. Not much of the work has been done with the DFD. So we also see that DFD is not yet representing the visualization of DFD. It is, we see that this conversion to the PetriNet.
Dr. Veena, we are running short of time. Dr. Veena, can you please wind up? We are running short of time.
Yes. So in this paper, we are concentrating with the formal semantic of the DFD. We are adding it to this DFD along with the PetriNet model. So these are the transition symbols of DFD. Other side, we are showing what we are using in the PetriNet model. This is just an example. We have just taken an example of train booking system, case study of it. A passenger books a ticket. So we have 3 cases here: searching the train, checking the ticket, and cancellation. So this is a model that we are showing for the process 0 of DFD here. Process 0, first one, login process. That is a process 1. And then we have a transition to transition 0. The first one that he is performing is a search train. And then second one is the search. If the train is searched, then he checks for the train ticket. So here we are explaining it in a proper manner. With transition 0, he will go to the process 1 and process 2, searching the train and booking the ticket. Similarly, transition 2, will be doing the process 3 and process 4. So, and this is the second point. DFD doesn't track with the sequence of the steps that is happening. We cannot track it. And with the Petri net, we can actually depict it in a proper manner, that which is a sequence of a particular task sequence. So,
Dr. Veena, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. So there are a couple of questions which I just wanted to ask you. Like, how is it different from other UML diagrams that we generate? Like, let's say activity diagram or a sequence diagram. So I couldn't see, like, where would be the application of a Petri net?
see, ma'am, this is the mathematical model added with the DFD. Other people have worked with the UML diagram, like for sequence, they have worked with Petri net. We have worked with DFD with Petri net.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for your presentation. And
Thank you.
I would now like to invite the last presenter for the evening, Deepali Mahajan, for presenting her work on understanding the impact of SNS on education. Over to you, Deepali. And I'll please request you to kindly keep track of time.
Yes, obviously, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance, and good afternoon all. May I share the screen?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon all. My name is Deepali Mahajan, and I am going to present the understanding the impact of social network sites on education. So basically, as we all know that nowadays the internet is the life, everybody's life part. We are going to use internet for different purpose, like for searching information and maintaining the relationships and all that. As we know that instead of going to information, we are using the social media networks like Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, and many more social media networks are present. So here, the more use of the Facebook we have observed in the India for Facebook, that is the user are 2.8 billions. So more than 1.5 billion students throughout the world have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, because to stop the spread, because of the close down of the educational industries, there is the need to move towards the online education. And so that time the Zoom, Google Meet, Cisco, WebEx, all these kind of online learning applications have been evolved. So there are so many pros and cons of using such online learning. So here we have some popular social media applications in which we are trying to show that the Facebook is having the largest number of users all over the world. So here we are trying to implement the machine learning techniques which will study the social media use. Social media analysis is nothing but by studying the data of the social media, we are trying to analyze the data and we will predict the things from that. So many machine learning techniques here we can use, but here in our studies, we have made use of the regression analysis. So regression analysis is the statistical method for assessing the association between one or more independent variables or predictors. So here we are considering the excess use of the internet and the education. So how the excess use of the internet is impacting on the students' education, that relation we are trying to find over here. So for data collection method, we have used the offline as well as the online survey strategy. As during the research, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have to switch for the online survey also. Otherwise, we have started with the offline survey. Then cross-sectional design has been used. So here we have used the 31 items self-generated questionnaires, which is we have distributed over the students and we have collected the responses from the students. Here we have designed to analyze the factors like the excess use, salience, anticipation, neglection of work, self-control, and the neglect of social life. So these are the factors that can be get affected because of the excess internet use within the students. High school, UG, PG, and university students made up the total of 484 participants. As these are the teenager students, and the more they are engaged in such kind of social media. So we have targeted these students in our research. So for data analysis, we have make use of the SPSS software, as it is the statistical package for the social sciences, and it gives us the result more accurately so that we can present our results. So in the research, we have gone with the bivariate and the multivariable regression analysis. So in bivariable regression analysis, we have used, that is, the independent variable as the excess use and the dependent variable as the education. So here we are having the F value as 0.15 and P value is greater than 0.01 as shown in the previous table. It indicates that the excess use is not significantly impacts on the student's education. Again, we have applied some multivariable regression analysis also, in which we have make use of multiple questions, which shows the different aspects. And again, we are checking with that the dependent variable, that is the education. In this case also, we are getting the p-value that is greater than 0.001, which also indicates the independent variable are not significantly impacting on the student's education. So here, whatever the further research directions we are having, in our current studies, we have focused on the Facebook social media application for prediction, but there are many new applications are also there, and we need to focus on that applications also. And so it becomes essential to concentrate on the academics of the students, because they are the building pillars of the society. So we have to look after them. And not only academics, but the other factors like a salience in social life, neglection of work, these also must be studied. In our studies, we have focused only on the education. So the technology is for betterment of the human being. So how students are making use of the internet and social media is important. So here we have observed that students are using the social media for sharing the information and for the studies, because nowadays so many online educational platforms are there. So students are making use of that. As whatever our students we have considered, so whatever that geographical area we have considered, so in that we have get that the moderate use of the internet, and as the moderate use, we didn't find that the education is get impacted negatively. So here we find that there is no positive or negative impact on the education of the social media use of the students. And these are some of the references. Thank you, ma'am. So is any question?
Thank you so much for your crisp presentation, Dipali, and very well. It's a small project that you are doing, and I could see that you've run good experimentation. So is it pertaining to the scholars in your university or your college where you are working right now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm working in the college, so that students also we have considered. Again, the university student and the school students. So for the offline, we have visited different schools. So only high school students we have considered. So the schools in the case of school, we have more schools, but college and university that we are considering the local only.
So what is the generic age group that you considered while doing this research or doing this, survey that you have done?
Yes. So mainly we have focused on the teenagers, that is high school students and UG PG students, because they are more affected and they are more using this kind of application. So we have focused on the teenagers.
Okay, and you said you've used a linear regression model. So what exactly was your finding out of the model? Because that is one thing which I couldn't see in your presentation.
Yeah, actually, in linear regression, we are trying to find out the relationship in between the predictor and the dependent variable. So predictor variable will predict that whether the dependent variable will be get affected or not. So it is dependent on the significance value. So our significance value is 0.101. It tells us that it is greater than 0.001. It means there is no significant relation in these two variables. It means we can say that excess use of internet cannot affect on the education.
Right. Thank you so very much for your wonderful presentation, Dipali.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for all the presented. So I sincerely thank our all authors for the excellent presentation and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough to all. So we, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for your support during this version and the previous 6 version of the conference. We will be happy to have you in 8 version of this the conference. All the presenter would be getting the digital certificates through the mail within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have already forwarded to the stranger. The publication will be live within 6 months, so kindly cooperate with the team of ICTCS 2022. I also thank our session chair for the chairing the session. This is a token of the appreciation from ICTCS and the team of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Rick. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for the valuable presence, ma'am.
Thank you.
So at the end of the session, I like to request to all please turn on the camera for the quick snapshot of this virtual conference. So, yeah, thank you so much. Stay safe, take care.
Thank you so much, Ricky. Thanks. All the best. Thank you.